This is a story that continues to resonate with all of us. Take a look. This past summer, on an otherwise ordinary Saturday afternoon, unarmed teenager Michael Brown was shot and killed by a police officer as he was walking down the street. The tragedy sent shockwaves across America, and the town of Ferguson, Missouri instantly became the focus of national attention for all the wrong reasons. The media storm that followed only seemed to fuel the escalating tension, while the images of conflict and protest again ignited the ongoing debate about justice in America.
Time for a change.
What do you want? Justice. When you want it.
Yeah.
But in the midst of this controversy, it is all too easy to forget that there are real people grieving and a family struggling to deal with the tragic death of their teenage son. You know, one of the things that I think is important here is that we can't let the political firestorm overshadow the loss that this young man's family is going through right now. The grief that they can only hope one day to overcome. So joining us is Lesley McSpadden. This is Michael's mom. Lesley, welcome. Take me back to the day when you got the news about your son.
Okay. I was at work, and I got a phone call that someone had been shot by my mother's house. I instantly just felt a deepening in my chest, and my line clicked, and it was my sister's number. And I clicked over. And before she could say anything, she was crying. And she said, "They shot Mike." And I didn't ask any questions because I just wanted to not even think that he was dead at all. And when she said it, I just started running. My first instinct was to run. Like I just wanted to run to him, but I ran back in my job. And I just told them, "Get me there, please, get me to my son." And the first thing I saw that let me know was the yellow tape. And I asked him, "Can I look and see, is that my son?" He told me no. And I repeatedly asked that for the 4.5 hours we was out there. And they would. I wanted to see for myself.
Tell me about your son. Tell me about Michael, the type of kid he was.
He was my firstborn. He was the leader of the pack for my 2 daughters and my other son. He was meek, he was humble, he was tall, he was mine. He loved dogs, he loved people, he loved anything that had life in it, anything, a plant. And that's why I just can't understand why they happened to my child.
Have you found comfort in anything?
Prayer. My other children. It's real hard.
Here's what I want to say to everybody. See, talking to this woman is emotional for me because I have the ability to sit within myself and say, what if it were my child? How we as fellow human beings cannot just imagine that for ourselves. Why we so readily go to policy and what he could have been doing, whatever he was doing. Did he deserve to lose his life because of it? What can I do? I'm unarmed. What can a kid do? What do you say to a mother if it were you? What would you want to happen? I'm gonna talk a little bit more, but we have her attorney here, Michael Brown's family, Benjamin Crump, is here. And I wanted to ask you, sir, just catch us up. Where is the case legally right now?
Steve, right now the matter's pending before a grand jury, which is a secret proceeding that only the prosecutor and the members of the jury will know what happens in the courtroom. And so we're waiting the outcome of that, which we should know in the beginning of October. So at this point, we just pray for these parents to be able to endure this.
Coming up next, we have a grief counselor here to talk about the steps that people at home that's dealing with grief. So we'll be back, okay? I'm back with Lesley McSpadden, who's going through unimaginable pain and loss after her son, Michael Brown, was shot and killed in Ferguson, Missouri this summer. Now, also joining us right now is clinical psychologist and author, Dr. Elizabeth Lombardo. Lesley, let me ask you this. Do you think you've had a chance to grieve?
No. This is so public. You know, most people grieve in silence. I haven't had any silence. I haven't had any time to myself. I haven't had any time to grieve at all.
Now, Dr. Elizabeth, let me ask you something. How can Lesley and other grieving parents out there, how can they cope?
You know, grief is a process. Typically, people go through 5 stages, although they don't necessarily go through them in sequence. And they include anger, bargaining, depression, denial, and acceptance. Mm-hmm.
Take us through these stages and how to deal with them.
Okay, so anger, totally understandable. You're angry at the person who did this. Some people get angry at God. And what's important to understand is that can be really hard, especially if that's where your faith comes from. But give yourself a break. Forgive yourself for this anger. It's a totally normal part of the process. Depression, sadness, of course you're feeling sad, and it's raw and it's intense. One of the things to do is to help yourself is by focusing on the gratitude, focusing on the good times and the good memories that you had. Bargaining has to do with saying, you know, if only I hadn't let him go to the store, if only I had been home. And with that comes so much guilt. Release yourself of the guilt. It wasn't your fault. Denial. Denial can be really helpful in the short term. It helps you get out of bed, helps you do what you need to do. Some people may fear that this signifies that they don't love him enough, but you always love him. And then acceptance. Acceptance is the ultimate goal when it comes to the mourning process.
Yeah. I want to say to you, Lesley, you know, as this is an unimaginable pain. And I want you to know that there are lots of people, millions of people across this country of all colors and faiths who are praying for you, pulling for you, wanting change to happen in the right way, that your son's life was not in vain. As difficult as it is, God has a purpose for it all. And for those out there who have to do like I do, because I have 3 sons, and every time an incident happens like this, we have to go over. We have to go over the things again. Why I have to teach my son to assume the position, why I have to teach my sons 10 and 2 palms up. I have to teach my son when the window go down, show both hands on both sides. Why am I teaching my sons this?
Right.
Because I don't want them to be a victim and then policy come into play. See, I don't, because I'm not going to care about policy at that point. I'm only going to care about Winton Jason and Stevie. That's all. And so if you cannot understand that, I don't know what type of human being you are. I feel sorry for you if you cannot imagine what this woman is feeling. And that's all I wanted to say. There are great police officers across this country. I will not go down that road because there are too many great officers in this country, too many great soldiers, too many great firemen. That's not it. It's too many great court proceedings in this country. That's not it. But there is a human element to this that we have to look at very closely. So I want to thank you very much, darling. I love you. We're praying for you. There's a lot of people in this audience right here who are feeling you and supporting you. When it gets negative, just keep praying, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you to Dr. Lombardo, and a special thanks to my girl Lesley right here for being so open during such a tough time. We'll be right back, folks.